the cloud. Okay. Welcome. As you guys can see, on the road, coming back from Alabama. So, but the calls do not stop, right? Just because I'm on the road. So I wanted to make sure I hopped on here on time. Just kind of tell you a little bit about this past couple of days. I really, honestly, just to be 100% honest with you guys, I really didn't have a good idea of what we were going to talk about today on the call. And then it started to dawn upon me, like literally maybe about 10 minutes ago. I started to think about this past week. I left Atlanta on Thursday night, late Thursday night, and went to Savannah. As I've been telling you guys for a couple of months now, that I wanted to branch off into the Savannah market and start wholesaling and doing deals in Savannah. And so in order for me to do that, I want to do that sometime in the fall, which is pretty much fall now. It's going into it pretty soon. So in order for me to do that, I needed to take a visit down to Savannah and just kind of check it out. So that's what the whole goal is to get a little bit of information from there, spend some time, a little bit of vacation time, not much, but a little bit, and kind of get a feel for where it's at. And if anybody has ever seen Odell Beckham, what they call the greatest catch, right? Or one of the greatest catches. Odell Beckham, if you guys don't know, he did this one-hand grab when he was with the Giants a couple of years ago. And to me, is one of the hardest catches that I've seen in football history. And there's been some other great ones, the immaculate reception and all those other ones, but that one really kind of takes the cake, the amount of difficulty it took in order to get that. Ryan said he's from Savannah. It is a great city, definitely. But people were, after that catch, a lot of people were asking Odell Beckham, like, man, how'd you do it? You know, what kind of gloves were you wearing? How often do you practice catching one hand? You know, did you have any, sticky spray on the gloves? You know, what was going through your mindset? All those things, I'm quite sure the amount of practice he put into it, the type of equipment he had, his preparation, all those things, I'm pretty sure went into and played a part in catching that fantastic catch that will go down in history as one of the best one-hand grabs out there. But none of that would ever have taken place. No one would ever know about that. Odell Beckham arguably would not be who he is now if Odell didn't show up for the game, if he didn't check into the game. If he didn't go into the game, there's no way possible Eli Manning could have ever thrown him that football. And so when I was thinking about today, what I wanted to talk about, literally about 10 minutes ago, I like to bring you real life things that are happening in my life, like right now, so that you guys can implement those things if you so choose. And so I went down to Savannah with the mindset of just finding some properties. Courtney, who's on our team, I think I just saw her come on the call not too long ago. She gave me an address, and I went down to that particular address and found a whole bunch of other properties. And then during the course of that, I stayed in an Airbnb. And while staying in the Airbnb, hey, Courtney, while staying at the Airbnb, I stayed in a house where I just rented the room. And the owner of the Airbnb, a lady by the name of Marquis, we started talking. And so Marquis started telling me about her situation. The house is a beautiful house on the lake. It was left to her by her mother and father. Unfortunately, both her mother and father have passed away. And she has this property that she's Airbnb, but she's not really doing it, I think probably the most efficient way. And so we start talking, and going through that process, Airbnb, I'm sorry, Marquis says that, you know, that, man, she really has another property that she likes to stay in. She has an apartment that she'd rather be in than this house because this house has all these memories attached to it. So immediately my spidey senses start to tingle, right? Because here's a property that I'm currently, you know, paying to stay in. It's a beautiful property. It's a huge house. Photographs well. One of the reasons why I went with it is because I saw the picture of the neighborhood and it was on the lake in Savannah. And by the time I left, Marquis was asking, she said, please call me about taking over this property as an Airbnb. Please give me a call immediately. So the story, and the reason why I tell you about Odell Beckham is because if I wasn't in the game, I couldn't get the catch, right? You have to be in the game in order to get the catch. You have to be on the field in this real estate world in order to get the deals. Riding around Savannah, I'm in the game, I'm on the field. So inevitably, eventually, I'm going to stumble upon some deals. Eventually, I'm going to stumble upon buyers and sellers. Eventually, things are going to fall into my lap and someone's going to look at it off the field. Someone's going to look at that Odell Beckham catch and say it was luck. That's what someone's going to say. But if you're on the field enough, there's going to be some times where things are thrown your way that's just going to fall in your lap. And so if you're not getting some of those lucky grabs, if you will, you're not getting some of those just home run type of deals, maybe you need to start looking about how much time you're in the field. How much time are you spending out there on your business? Marquis also told me that her parents left her 3 other properties that need work. She said they need work, but they're paid off properties, 100% paid off. And that they're Section 8 properties, okay? And she doesn't really necessarily want to be in real estate. It just kind of fell in her lap because her father was a longshoreman, mom was a doctor. They made good money, and they left their kids some properties. So because of this, me being in the field, I'm able to find some of these leads. I'm able to find some of these deals that look at your timetable, look at how much time you spent on your business this last week. Were you on the field long enough to catch some of those lucky grabs? Odell Beckham did that one time. That one lucky grab kind of like skyrocketed his career. I don't know if you guys follow football, you know what I'm talking about. After that, Odell Beckham's career just skyrocketed. Sometimes you just need that one to completely change the trajectory of your career. How much time? We're gonna go around the room real quick. I'm gonna call your name just real quickly. Take yourself off mute. Take yourself off mute, and then tell me. Actually, no, don't do that because it'll take forever. In the chat right now. In the chat, be honest with yourself, because I don't care about, this is about you right here, right? How much time, today is Sunday, how much time did you spend from last Sunday to this Sunday? How many hours did you spend in the field, in the trenches of your business? Go ahead and put that into the chat right now. I'm gonna go to the chat. You gotta work with me here because I'm on the phone here. So let me see. It's not how you, let's see, chat. So I'm seeing 10 to 15. Mo said 10 to 15. All right, cool. 10, 5 to 7, 5. Honestly, not enough. How much is not enough, Marcus? Give me a number. I need a number. This is honesty time. This is gut check time. About 6 to 7. Sherry said 10. I like it. Ollie, 20. And then 3. I'm not sure. Oh, 20 to 30. Okay. Good. 8 hours, 1 to 2. Dex said 3, 10. Perfect. Okay. I appreciate that, Susie. I appreciate that. 7 to about 3 hours per day studying right now. 7, 3. Cool. All right. I got this at 3. All right. Awesome. You got to work with me because I can't. I can't, I gotta go back and forth between the screens. So, nice, Danyeil. Good job. Danyeil says she did her first trip to Home Depot. Good job. That's what I'm talking about. It's just constantly moving that needle. Susie says 4. So here we go. So if you guys remember, I think it's the very first module. How many hours do I say we need to put into this business if you want to be successful? Does anybody remember? Very first module. And I know I said it because I've been saying it for, since I realized it. And if you guys don't remember, I'm gonna say it again. If you're new, if you happen to skip that mindset, module is probably the best module. It's the key to all of the modules. It just says 30. So here's what I said. Just a quick reminder, okay? I said, if you put 20 hours of work, of real work, on your business every single week, but here's the kicker, with 100% zero expectation of getting paid. That's the thing. You got to put 20 hours of work in your business every single week for the next 6 months. With zero expectation of getting paid. And I promise you, you will get paid. That part right there, the 20 hours for every week for 6 months with zero expectation of getting paid. Hold on 1 second. I got somebody who's off mute. Y'all can really police yourselves. Every once in a while, just make sure you're still on mute. You should still have the little red microphone, okay? So why is that so important? Because I know that especially in the beginning, there's a huge learning curve of more standing behind the computer, watching and consuming the knowledge, right? As you start to get and understand the modules, you don't have to go through the modules as much, so you can transition that time that was spent on learning, on educating yourselves, on actually doing and applying the action, okay? So I know that after about month 2, around month 2, we should have a good foundation. If you're spending 20 hours of work, 20 hours on your business for that every week for that first month, you should have a very, very good handle on understanding what we need to do as wholesalers. You transition now into month 2, those 20 hours into actually applying action to your business in month 2. So month 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm sorry, and 5 and 6. So you got 5 good months. You got 1 month of learning, 5 really, really good months of doing. And why I say that you need to do with zero expectation of getting paid is because if you focus on getting paid within a month to 2 months, I promise you, you will quit unless you get one of those home run deals. Unless you're one of those very fortunate people. I wasn't one of them. Unless you're one of those fortunate people that do get a deal within the first 30 days, which happens, but is not the norm, okay? It's not the norm. It's not something that happens for every single student. The vast majority of the people take a little bit of time. They take about 5 months to get their first deal, okay? It took me 5.5 months to get my first deal. Once I started to apply this action, because there's some momentum that has to get built. It gets easier as time goes on. So people on my team, I've allowed them kind of a little small amount of access into some of the properties that come across my timeline, either through direct message, through text message, through emails, and they don't get all of them. I'm just taking some of them and I'm putting them into a group chat. There's about 4 of us that are in this group chat. And I send them to them because, quite frankly, I just don't have the time to work all of the leads. So because I have some momentum, I don't have to go out there and constantly look for deals, even though I still do. But because I have momentum, I have leads that are coming in. So I have so many leads that are coming in that I'm pushing them off to people that I know understand at least the basics of wholesaling, so they don't have to keep asking a whole bunch of questions. So why I'm telling you that is because I've been in the game, I've been on the field long enough where the quarterback is just throwing me passes. They're just throwing them to me, right? And I might not catch all of them. Some of them might be bad throws. But eventually I'm going to catch a really good one. And I'm going to go ahead and be able to go for the touchdown, okay? You guys can do the exact same thing. You just have to spend the time. You have to build the momentum. You have to be on the field long enough so that, sorry, I'm trying to block out the sun there, so that you can get some of those passes thrown to you on a more frequent basis. And the more frequently they're thrown to you, the better chance you're going to have of catching them. And if you got the ball, you have the opportunity to run for a touchdown. So most of you, from what I saw, the vast majority of you has said less than 20 hours. But you want the dream, right? You want to be able to go ahead and do this. You want to be able to go ahead and change your family tree. But I've told you from the very beginning, you got to follow the blueprint. You have to put in the 20 hours. So now we have to ask ourselves, why aren't we putting the 20 hours? Either we, A, don't believe that we need to put in 20 hours. And if that's the case, we need to kind of do a gut check in ourselves and say, hey, is that a little bit of arrogance that I'm saying that I haven't wholesaled 50 plus properties, but here I have someone who has wholesaled over 50 properties and they're telling you need to put at least 20 hours worth of work into your business, and I'm not doing it. So maybe that's you, and that's okay. That's okay. You know, that's all right. If you're feeling that way, I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying maybe you need to check yourself a little bit, okay? Or maybe you just don't really believe that's what is needed, okay? Or maybe the third option is you have tricked yourself into thinking that you don't need that you can't afford to spend that amount of time. So I want to challenge you in your thought, and I want to hear some of the reasons why. If you haven't put 20 hours of work in this past week, go ahead, gut check time, go ahead, put it in the chat right now on why. Why did you shortchange yourself? Let's be honest with ourselves. Why didn't you put in 20 hours worth of work in your wholesale business? Let me check. Let me go to the chat real quick. Let me see. Where's my chat? Boom. All right. Yeah, okay. Carl is sitting in the hospital. Okay. I work 60 plus hours a week. Okay, cool. Anybody else? I know there's other people on this call now. Come on. You're not too good to put in the chat. My 9 to 5 and dealing with some relationship stuff. Okay, cool. On call and after hours. All right. Managing full-time job that has over 40 plus hours. Military duty, single dad, college work. Okay. 10 hours a day, easy. Okay. I had surgery this week. All right. Newborn at home. Procrastination. Okay, Stan, I like it. Personal matters. Okay, Winnie. I allow myself to be tired, work, especially having to work overtime, just being lazy. All right. Procrastination, fatigue, day job. Okay, I like it. Okay, I like it. I like it because you guys are being honest. These are not fake answers. Finding myself, beliefs, esteem that. Okay, got it. I did 20 hours. Think you can still do more? Good. Okay, so here's something that I want you guys to think about. So a lot of us have good excuses, right? We have to the rest of the world, it's a really, really good excuse. Really good excuse. And I'm speaking to everyone, probably with the exception of the people who are in the hospital, because I don't know, and I don't want you to, divulge that on this call. I don't know why you're in the hospital, because while you're in the hospital will definitely limit what you can or can't do. But even with that, I just want you to think about this, okay? I want you to think about this. So some of you guys know, while I was in the military, I was in the Coast Guard. In the Coast Guard, we had a specialized unit that did counterterrorism. Now, dealing with terrorists is completely different than dealing with your average day criminal, okay? Terrorists, criminal, typically they just want to get away. If they could get away without hurting you or killing you, um, in a law enforcement capacity, they typically would rather do that instead, okay? We had a situation where a guy had killed his wife and he had his daughter held hostage with a knife against her throat. And really all he wanted to do was get away. If the SWAT team would have got up and left, he would have left and gone about his way, gone about his business. But terrorism is a little bit different. The mind of a terrorist is all about their mission, right? So much so that their entire goal of the terrorist is to kill themselves with as many of the good guys as us as possible, okay? Their goal is not to run away. Their goal is not to get away. Their whole point of it, the whole goal is to die for what they believe in, is to die for what they want, and take as many of us as possible. So when we go into a situation like this, and you're going to see how you can apply this to business. And this is literally how I attack every single business. And anytime that I face whether or not I want to do something, anytime I feel like there's an excuse that's starting to come on, that starts to kind of build up in me, I have to think about it like this. If a terrorist was standing there, this is a little crazy, a little grotesque, but if a terrorist was there and he had a gun to my daughter's head and said, Tommy, if you do not put 20 hours of work into your business this week, I'm going to pull the trigger. I don't care what the excuse is. I don't care if you work 60 hours a week. I don't care if you're going through some personal issues. I don't care if you don't work 20 hours a week on your business. I'm pulling this trigger. How hard, how easy would it be for me to get around all those other excuses? How easy would it for me to say, I work 60 hours, but I'm gonna give my 20 because I know this terrorist who's real is going to pull this trigger, and on the other side of that barrel is my daughter's head. How hard would I work if that was the reality? And if you can say, maybe it's not your daughter, maybe it's a brother, maybe it's your mother, your uncle, your aunt, if you could say you would find a way to do that, to put those 20 hours of work in, then you really understand that what you said is just an excuse. It's just an excuse that you rationalize in your mind, that you said that this is good enough. This is good enough reason for me not to put in that extra time, right? So if you take it that serious, and this is what a lot of the people that we admire, and this is the type of work ethic that they put in, that they don't let anything get in the way. They don't let anything get in the way of what their goals are. Because when you apply that type of thought process to the problem of I work 60 plus hours, or I work a full-time job, or I'm a single dad, or I'm a single mom, or I'm in school and I'm trying to do this. When you start to apply that type of tenacity to it, when you start to apply that type of focus to it, everything else, you start to move other things out of the way, because I guarantee you, if you allow stuff like that to stop you next year, you're going to look at your life and you'll be in the exact same position, still working that 60-hour job, still going to school and still trying to balance family, there's going to be another relationship that is going to cause you relationship issues. The stuff like that never stops, right? You know it. This is not the first time you've had to work 60 hours a week. This is not the first time you've had relationship issues. Stan, you know that girl about 2 years ago, she was causing you issues. I'm just playing with you, Stan, right? I'm just messing with you, man, right? But you guys know what I'm saying. Like, this is stuff that happens year in, year out, day after day, and it's never going to change. It's like next year, it's just going to be a different issue. So if you allow it this year to stop you, then you're just prolonging how long it takes for you to become great, to become what you really want to be. Stop letting little moments rob you of your future success. Stay in the game 20 hours a week. I want everybody on this call to commit 20 hours a week. I don't care what's going on. That terrorist is putting the gun to the head of your dreams. That terrorist is putting the gun to the head of your dreams, and you're allowing them to pull the trigger every single time you don't put in those 20 hours. 20 hours. You're giving other people 20 hours. At least give your family those 20 hours. I think you probably love your family a little bit more than you love your job. Right? So it's time for us to really be real with ourselves and say, do I really, really want this? Because here's what I found fascinating is that everybody on this call, we're here because different reasons, but we all know that money comes with real estate. Now, for some people, money means the new place to live in, right? I used to want to live in a really huge house. Now I'm kind of cool with a small house. I'm more about experiences, right? And being able to have freedom, right? I've been house broke before. I ain't like it, okay? But for me, the money might mean something, but for Mo, it might mean something else, right? Mo might want to be able to just, I just want to wake up and have apartment complexes and be able to travel 365 days a year. And that's what the money allows to buy him. But everybody has their reasons for why they want to do this, but we all know that we need to make money, right? Let's not patronize each other, right? We know that with real estate, if you do real estate at a good level, you want to make money. You're not here just for the hugs, right? Just because we make each other feel good. You want to make money. And we also know that if we do this, we've seen it time and time again, that real estate doesn't just make a little bit of money. You can make a lot of money, okay? And that a lot of money can help you live a fantastic lifestyle, a phenomenal, just a lifestyle of abundance. And that doesn't come with the normal 9 to 5, but you want to put 9 to 5 effort. You want to live that abundant lifestyle. Mo wants to be take his whole family to Fiji and just say it's on me and stay. You guys see those little grass hut little things that over the water, and the floor is the glass, right, where you can see the fish at night swim up. That's what Mo wants, right? And he wants to be no timeline. If we want to go out there for 7 days, cool. If we want to stay out there for a month, we got it. That's what Mo wants. That's not normal. Like the person that's working that 9 to 5 that's not a normal lifestyle for them. They might be able to do that once or twice, but trust and believe, if you're working for Google, a very good company, and they're paying you, right, you got to come back to work. You only got so many vacation days if you're working for Google, which is a good company. We want to live this fantastic lifestyle, but we want to do what everybody else does in the 9 to 5 world. 9 to 5ers can say, boss, you know what? I work 60 hours. I need to take some time off. That's what you can do when you work for Google and you work 60 hours a week. But you can't do that if you want a fantastic. You can do that, but you got to accept the fact that you're not going to live that fantastic lifestyle. The one that you have pictured in your brain, the one that you see that everybody has probably come on to this program for, you can't get that if you're just going to do the average. You can't get that if you're going to do put in the same exact effort that you would put into a 9 to 5. So again, gut check time. What are we doing different this week? Put in the chat. What are we doing different this week? So we fell short. We fell short this week. Some of us did. Some of us I saw, I think a couple people said they did 20 to 30 hours. I think Ali said he was one of them. Okay. But for the vast majority, we fell short. We fell short. We fell short. So we identified the problem. We did not get our 20 hours. What are we doing differently, either creatively so we can manage our time better? What are we doing differently so we can add another 15, 10, 5 hours, whatever you need to get to that 20? What are we doing differently? Let me go to the chat. Put it in the chat. Creating a schedule. All right, cool. All right. You commit. Agatha, I love that. Agatha says, I commit to 20 hours this week. So how are we What are we changing, Agatha? What are we changing from last week to this week? Cold calling 3 to 4 hours every day, okay? 3 to 4 hours every day. I like it. I like it. 3 hours. 3 hours. That means you're going to do that 7 days a week if you're going to do 3 hours, right? Because that's 3 times 7, that's 21, right? Marcus. Mo says automating some aspects and adding some help, okay? Okay? Set focus time, make it happen, set alarms, plan out week. I like the alarms. I like the alarms. I did an experiment, a 6-hour workday experiment a little while ago. Man, it works fantastic. It's very, very good. I'll explain it a little bit. More videos, more calls, more driving for dollars, okay? Focus, working quicker, write daily goals, organize, schedule 3 hours for cold calling. Perfect. Set reminders on my phone, 20 plus hours of my life. Alan said, work with a plan opposed to just working. Exactly, Alan, that's huge. Driving for dollars, okay? So Agatha says she's gonna drive for dollars. So I want definite, so how many more hours of driving for dollars are you doing? Let's really, let's not just put out, hey, I'm gonna do this, but how am I gonna do this? What am I gonna do? How much time am I gonna put into it? Organize the properties I found D for D. Nice. 200 cold calls a day. Courtney said 200 cold calls a day. I like it, Courtney. Courtney, you do that. You do that. There's certain things, definitely more driving for dollars. I need to study 2 more hours right now. There are some things, there's some activities that these are money-making activities, right? How do I do, when I go back? Close. All right, there's some money-making activities that we can do. Cold calling is definitely one of those money-making activities. It's definitely one of those money-making activities. If you're calling 200 people a day, that's a number one, it's very, very difficult. It's very difficult. I'm not saying you can't do it. I know you can do it, Courtney. I 100% believe in you. Understand there's some emotional challenges that are going to come along with calling 200 people, okay? Jamisa said it's a good, into RVM, your whole first list. I'm going to go to the Q&A in a little bit, Jamisa here. So, all those things are good, but I really challenge you guys to put a definite plan together with these goals. Reminders are great. Carlos has set a reminder. I'm gonna talk a little bit of how you guys can do this. So let's apply some action steps to this. So this is what I want you guys to think about doing. You don't have to do it. It's worked really well for me. I did from a guy named Ed Milet. He talked about 6-hour work days. And the way he described it is this. He said, you guys ever have one of those work days where like before noon, you accomplish more before noon than you do on whole entire days? You ever have one of those days where it's like just things are clicking, man? Like it's just, you're banging things out. And you're like, man, it's lunchtime. I'm pretty much done. Like it's crazy what we can get accomplished in a very, very short amount of time if we're organized and if we plan correctly. So what Ed Milet was talking about when he said this was just genius to me. And I practiced this, I did this, and it works like very, very well. And I challenge you guys to try this over the next month. Break your stuff up into 6-hour work days, 6-hour mini days, as he calls them. So every 6 hours is equivalent to 1 full work day. Because I know, and you know, you've had these experiences where things were just clicking and you were able to get things done in a 6-hour time span that would normally take you a full work day, all right? And so I work from 6 a.m. to 12 noon, and that's 1 mini work day. And I have 3 to 4 things that I want to accomplish in that mini work day. And I write them down, and I don't do anything else unless those 3 to 4 things get done. Once those 3 to 4 things get done, then I'm allowing myself some free time, if I have any. Sometimes it takes a whole 6 hours to get those 3 to 4 things done. Sometimes those 3 to 4 things get done within a matter of 3 to 4 hours, and I have 3 to 2 hours left over, okay? Nevertheless, from 6 to 12, I have a definite 3 to 4 goals that I achieve, and I'll check them off. I really want you to write them down because there's something really, really satisfying about checking the goals off, right? So I want you to write those down. Then from 12 to 6, 12 noon to 6 is another set of mini goals, okay? is another set. Now, for some of you, your 6 to 12 includes working. You're like, man, I start a job at 8 o'clock in the morning and I work from 8 to 5 p.m. Okay, so what can you do for your business? What can you do from 6 to 8? Okay, and from 8 to 12. So still from 6 to 12, you got some of that you're not at work, and then you have a large portion of that from 8 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock where you're at work. So maybe your 3 to 4 goals, you have to squeeze those goals into that 2-hour time frame. I don't know what type of job you have. All I say is I challenge you not to let your job be the excuse, okay? Find some way to knock out 3 to 4 goals. Maybe they're the smaller portion of the goals, the easier ones to knock out during that 6 to 12. Nevertheless, at 12 noon, we move into our second mini day. Our second mini day. And you have to find another 3 to 4 goals from 12 noon to 6 p.m. From 12 noon to 6 p.m. What are you going to get done? And then from 6 p.m. to midnight, what are you going to get done? Now, for me, some of my goals, and they overlap depending on the day, I have to look at my schedule. My closer to 5 to 6 p.m. time frame, I scheduled in family time with my kids. So that's important, right? All right. Some of us overindulge in the family time, and we live this lie that I have to spend all this time with my family time. But guess what? Guess what? You spend more time at your job than you do with your family time. And then you will, if you don't make a change, if you don't do a small sacrifice, if you don't implement something now, you will always spend for the next 20 to 30 years more time at your job than you do with your family. So I'm not asking you to completely erase the family time. I'm just saying maybe for this season in your life that you say, okay, for the next 2 hours, I'm completely 100% all in on family. But after my timer goes off, after the next mini day starts, family time is off, and now I'm into business because I know if I do this, if I commit to this, I know that I'll have more and more family time next year. That makes sense, right? We just have to start organizing ourselves. So from 6 p.m. to 12, what are you doing? From 6 p.m. to 12, 3 to 4 goals. Let's think of these 3 to 4 goals. Let's start enacting some of these 3 to 4 goals. So I'm curious to see in our Facebook group who's going to be brave enough. Who's going to be brave enough? Who's going to be brave enough to put up their schedule for tomorrow? So we got 3 mini days, right? We got 6 a.m. to noon. That's 1 mini day. Let's literally think about it. 6 a.m. to noon, 1 mini day. Noon to 6 p.m., second mini day. 6 p.m. to 12 noon or 12 a.m., a third mini day. And you've all had these days where you could accomplish in 1 mini day, you can accomplish everything you've accomplished in a day. So you theoretically can be 3 times more effective, get 3 times as many things done during the course of the same 24 hours. So who's going to be brave enough? Let's commit now in the chat. You don't have to. I'm not saying you have to. Carla says she is. Thank you, Carla. Who's going to be brave enough tomorrow? Ollie said he's down. Tomorrow to put in on the Facebook group your schedule. I don't want you to tag on to someone else's post. I want you to do your individual post. So Carla, Ollie, do your own post. I have 2 people that said they're willing to do it. I want you to put down your schedule. Mo said he's in. Josh said he's in. Susie says she's in. Put down in the Facebook group what your mini day looks like. And at the end of it tomorrow, or actually wait till the next day, let's see how many of those things. Let's be honest. Go back to your same chat or to your same post and be honest. This is all about growth, right? We can't grow if we're lying to ourselves. Let's go back and see how many of those things you actually got done. Drake said he's on it. Got it. Danyeil says she's on it. Stacy says she's in. George said he's in. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. I'm opening this thing up. Courtney says she's down. I'm opening this thing up for Q&A. I don't even know what time it is. Let me see here. Let me go to the chat. I saw somebody, I think it was Jamesia. No, I'm sorry. I take that back. Somebody raised their hand. I think it was George, maybe? George? Somebody raised their hand and now their hand is down, so I can't tell.
I think
but
Jasmine had the question in the chat.
Was Jasmine?
Yeah.
Or Jamesia? Was Jasmine? Okay, Jasmine. Go ahead, Jasmine. Take yourself off mute. Where you at, Jazz?
Okay, I'm here.
There you go.
So my question was, because my boyfriend and I, we were working on the modules with like the ARV and stuff. And we couldn't really figure it out. Like
Okay.
like with the ARV, like we found a property, but it wasn't really a lot of houses in that area that was sold, like within the last 6 months, like you said. So I'm like, well, what do you use then? Because it was like,
Perfect.
it wasn't like the best neighborhood, but it was okay.
Good. I love it. I love it, Jasmine. Thank you so much for being brave enough to ask the question. Because there's a lot of people on the call that have the same exact question. And so a couple of things we have to look at when we're doing these things is, number one, what type of area it is. What type of area are we looking in? And if you don't mind, Jasmine, because I know it's already loud enough here, if you can put yourself on mute
Okay.
real quick. And then you can, if I say something that you have a question about, just take yourself off mute and just hop in, okay?
Okay.
That way, because the background I know is a lot. I'm driving. Number one, and I wish I could do this on the computer. It would be very, very difficult for you guys to see, I think, on my phone here. Let me see. Actually, I don't know. Let me see if I can. I'll probably save that for a moment on the computer because I'm not sure if I'll be able to do this while live. But typically, Jasmine, I would just walk you through it. But I would challenge to see, number one, what type of neighborhood it's in, and then number two, your settings. Okay, if your settings are off, it completely throws everything off. So on your phone, because I do a lot of this on the road, so I'm really, really fluent with doing it on the phone. I can do it on the computer. I almost prefer to do it on my phone. So if my settings are off on my phone, I'm not going to get all of the data that I need. You know, and I really want to show this to you. Let me see if I can share my screen. Screen broadcast. Everything on your screen, including notifications, will be recorded. All right, start broadcast. Let's see. All right. Jasmine, can you take yourself off mute? Can you see my screen here? You see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. You're seeing my home screen right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. All right. So here I'm going to go into Zillow. I've never done this on the computer, so, and just keep yourself off mute for right now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What's the address of the property that you're
It's 1543.
Jasmine?
Yeah. New Amsterdam Way.
New Amsterdam what?
New Amsterdam Way, right there.
That one? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got this property. So a couple things that we need, Jasmine, was we need obviously this information here, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,820 square feet. That's what we need, okay? We're gonna go ahead and close out of this. I'm gonna hit the X in that top left-hand corner, and there's my property, right? So right now, I'm just seeing that one property, but do you see underneath the address that those tabs there, it says sold, 50,000, house, more, with the number 2, you see that there?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so number one, I always double check this. I want that recently sold. That's the only one that I want checked off right now. I hit done. This one right here is probably my biggest one that's throwing me off because I had it set for something else. But I want to open this up all the way up, okay? So immediately I'm starting to see other things pop open. Were you seeing the same things?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Here we know that it's a house because I just saw the picture of it, so I only want house on there. And then under more, I want this to be any, right? You see bedrooms, any, bathrooms, any. I want all these things, any. I just want to change this to 6 months. Okay, let's see what that filter looks like and apply. Okay, perfect. So here, what I can see here, right about here, it's probably right about a half-mile radius. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But I got this property right here. Okay. So this property is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Our subject property, I believe, is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. This is 1,723 square feet. So the beautiful thing about having it in this format right here, without touching the screen right now, it says right there, what does that say? It says sold $100 per square foot, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm using that number right there. That's really what honestly, all I need. So I could take the sales price of $172,100, divide that by 1,723 square feet, and I'm going to get a little more, right around $100 per square foot. So I would write this down as a comp, okay? And I'm writing down $100 per square foot. Now this other one right here, this one that's sold for $230, I'm also going to look at this. This one sold within the last 6 months, sold in July. This one sold for $144 a square foot. Excuse me. Okay, I click on it. It's taking a little while for it to load up. I probably should do this because I'm driving, and it's probably going to take a while to load up. But this one was smaller and doesn't have photos. Okay, great. So it was smaller and it sold for more. So it tells me this one was probably a better look. It was probably for $144 a square foot. So I'd write that. So far I got $100 per square foot. I have 144 per square foot, 228. This is a square foot. Let's see what this looked like. And this one had 31 photos. So this is your average Orlando flip, the tile, open concept. Laminate flooring, okay? Right? This is an HGTV ready house, okay? So 149. So I got 149, 144, 100. So with 51, you could do that. All right, have good comps. You have very good comps. So it doesn't. So for me, when you tell me that you can't find the comps, what it tells me is that you probably didn't have your settings correct, and that's why you weren't seeing the comps.
Yeah, because we was trying to do it like within the half a mile, but it looks like the way you're looking at it, it's like because we put our settings on like 2-bed, because it's a 3-2 the one we was looking at. So we put our settings on like 2 bedrooms and like 2 bathrooms, but you put it to any. So maybe that's why it came up with something different for yours. So we'll just do that next time.
Yeah,
I just was trying to make sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think it might be a little delay. Put it on any, because we're going to, if you have access to the MLS, go ahead and let me go ahead and stop this, stop broadcasting here. Okay, how do I get back to you guys now? Okay, cool. All right. So put it to any. Am I frozen? You guys there?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like my face is frozen. How come no one's ever frozen in like a pose where you look cute? You're always frozen in the crazy face.
You ain't froze, bro. It's just your phone.
Just my phone? Okay, my phone is frozen. So anyway, this is just the random things that come to my head. You gotta bear with me, all right? When you're doing this, when you have the MLS, that's where I was going. When you have the MLS, you can kind of niche it down a little bit. But even in the MLS, I don't put it exactly as 3-2 or whatever. I give myself a little bit of wiggle room, because some of the best deals are the 3-1s. Because if I look and I see my comp there's a comp in the neighborhood that was a 3-2 at 1,400 square feet, and it sold for higher because it was a 3-2 at 1,400 square feet. And I can see that my property is at 1,400 square feet, but it's a 3-1. That pretty much means I can create another bathroom, right?
Yeah.
So I want to have the flexibility of being able to create another bathroom if I can. So just keep your settings to open. If you have more precise data, then you can kind of niche it down. Like if you have access to the MLS, you can niche it down a little bit. But even then, I would have either one below or one above, meaning that if my subject property is a 3-1 or 3-2, I want to look for anything between 2 bedrooms up to 4 bedrooms, or and 1 bathroom up to 3 bathrooms. So I'm giving myself a +1 or a -1, if you understand what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm saying it clearly enough, but
Yeah.
give yourself some wiggle room so Zillow can pull more data.
Okay, cool. We'll try that. Thank you.
No problem. Mo, go ahead, bro.
What's going on, man? I don't really have a question, just a statement. I was just gonna tell everybody real quick, take advantage of the community within Facebook and when we have these bi-weekly meetings, because it's people within the group that we can all link up with. Like I just found that there's a couple people in Orlando. Ali and I have linked up like outside like a couple times, like on different conversations or whatever. But it's a wealth of knowledge and like resources, and whether or not it's just like you get frustrated and somebody needs to pick you up, or
Yeah,
you know, you guys just need to bounce ideas off each other or whatever. But I mean, it's a lonely game. I've been in sales for going on 17 years now. So only thing we're really doing is sales. It's just a different kind of sales for me. So if you can link up with somebody, definitely link up with somebody, whether or not you want to call them an accountability partner or just somebody. I used to call them like drive buddies. Whenever I had windshield time, I would pick up the phone and call somebody.
yeah.
So that's all I wanted to say, man.
No, it's really good, man. You're 100% right, man. I remember, you know, as much as I love her, one of the hardest people on me that really kind of, she didn't do it on purpose. It wasn't like, you know, something that she would, you know, maliciously went out to do. But my mother was one of those people that were like, man, she would let you have it, you know?
Yeah.
She would let me have it. She's like, oh, you're doing this, I've done a lot of different things. I've done MLM, I've had other businesses, I've had gyms, I've had, you know, fitness companies, I've had, you know, I was selling t-shirts, right? You know, like, she's like, what are you gonna do this? You like, you were a cop, you were in the, you know, all these different things. She's like, well, you're just gonna pick one thing, right? So sometimes it's like you said, like Mo said, man, it's very, very lonely in this field until you start to hang around other people. I just saw Dave. He just left the call. He was on the call. Dave is one of my best friends. Man, I love that dude like a brother. And Dave, if you guys don't know, is an entrepreneur. All his friends are entrepreneurs. Matter of fact, if you're not an entrepreneur, you're very seldom. He has very few people that are in his circles that aren't entrepreneurs. And so you start to hang around more entrepreneurs, then it's not so lonely at that point. But in the beginning, it's definitely a lonely place. And sometimes your family and your loved ones can be the ones that kind of talk you out of it the most. So definitely take advantage of that group. Someone asked, where's the group? Or what's the group? It's just go on Facebook and then type in E2E Wholesaling Edition. It's the name of the course. And yeah, we'll answer the 3 questions. If you don't answer the 3 questions, you won't get in, and then you're good. Danyeil, you're up.
Hello, everyone. I think I have like 2 questions. So the first question is, I guess when giving an estimate to like a buyer or maybe a seller, do you kind of go somewhere in the middle when you gather all your estimates, and should I expect them to also know in general, the idea of what their estimates would be too. Oh, sorry, I can't
Tommy,
hear
you're
you.
muted. Tommy, you're muted.
Thanks.
Okay, am I back?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's getting dark. So, somewhere. Okay, I see it. So, God, you can't see nothing but my teeth. Hold on, this don't even work. That's kind of like. All right. Anyway, your question is specifically when I'm presenting my offer to my seller or to my buyer.
I guess to your buyer, I guess the one that's buying the house, and they will be the ones that will have to fix it up. Or if I'm
Okay,
talking to a flipper, yeah.
Yeah. So how am I presenting I'm presenting them the numbers based off of how much the house, the ARV is going to be, right?
Right.
I'm taking
Yes.
that in most neighborhoods. I'm doing 0.7. Like I know in different neighborhoods, you might not be able to do that. Where are you at, Danyeil?
I'm in New York.
New York. So New York is not a 0.7. New York is probably at least a 0.75.
Okay.
It's just harder to come across properties in New York. So, and there's a bigger profit margin in New York than just cost of living. So you might be at a 0.75.
Okay.
And then you're going to back out those costs for repairs. And then you're going to back out how much money you want to make. And then that's where you want to be at. Now, I think what you're asking me is that when I present it to my buyer, what number do I give them first? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, should I expect them to also know an estimate of whatever repairs they're going to put in the house?
Absolutely. They're the ones
yes.
yeah, absolutely. So they should have a good idea and a good foundation on repairs for themselves. Like, I would not suggest anybody, because eventually some of you guys are going to want to do flips. Some of you guys have already done flips. I would not suggest that you take my word or anybody else, any other wholesaler's word on what the repair cost would be. They should be doing their own numbers. And so what'll really bode well for you is if your numbers are on par with theirs, or even if you can make the deal work with your numbers being more than theirs. So I've gone into places and I've thought the repair costs were going to be $70,000, and I've had someone say, "Oh, I can get it done for 62." Well, that's good for me. It bodes well for me because they just told me basically, "Hey, your numbers are on point," right? Because if you were attracted to the property at spending $70,000 on repairs, and you tell me you can get it done for 62, well, shoot, you shouldn't have no problem buying it, right? At full wholesaling price.
Right.
So yeah, you just worry about making sure your numbers are good. They definitely need to be doing their own homework. If they just trust you, you're a good person, so you're gonna lead them the right way. But you can be wrong. You're not immune to making mistakes. You might not catch that foundation issue, right? So they should be doing their own numbers for sure.
Okay, thank you. And my second question, I'm sorry. I had a family member who fiance just passed, and she's looking to sell her home. However, I just kind of looked it up, and she already put it through, I think, a real estate company. Is all lost by that point as far as? Okay.
It's not, but you have to kind of feel out what the problem is. Wholesaling is not the answer to all problems,
right?
Because we want to be able to look ourselves in the eye, especially with our family members, and say that we did the right thing, right?
Yes.
So if I go to a property and I feel like the best option is not for them to wholesale it, I'm gonna tell them the best option is not for you to wholesale, right? So if your family member has a property that could do well with retail, then maybe that might be their best option, right? The last thing you want to do is come across as that sleazy person that's just trying to, steal property, especially from family members, right?
Sure.
Right. And you got to wonder what they putting in your macaroni and cheese at Thanksgiving, right? So you don't want to be that person. But if they have an issue where they need to get rid of this property, the thing with wholesaling is that they trade time for money, right? It's speed, because going through the traditional process, it costs a lot. It's going to take a lot more time, but they might be able to get a little bit more money. But if they don't have the luxury of time, they're going to trade that time for money. They're going to trade, they're going to give up what they could have made if they had the time on the property, so that they don't lose the property. So you just need to sit down with them and really see, is there a problem that you can solve? And if there's not, they are 100% able to go to their real estate agent and say, listen, I want to cancel my contract. They can do that. They're the masters of that contract. But just make sure that you're doing it with the right, right, mindset, that you're really doing it to help them.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
No problem. All right. Ali and George.
All right, Tommy, hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, so this is a quick question. I think it might be useful for everybody. So I had a property that I was JVing on, and I got a panic Facebook message from a lady, and she was stating that saw that there was some fines on the property, so she offered a different price, the whole nine. We went back and forth, neither here nor there. The issue that I wanted to ask you about is when a company does a title search for your title, and they can see liens and things of that nature, but what things can't they see? Because apparently, I talked to the city, and apparently, when the company does a title search, they see things like health fines and stuff like that on the property. They don't place them as liens; they just place them as something separate. Is that something common? Have you seen that before?
Hold on, Ali. I want to drink some water. I almost killed myself.
Oh, I couldn't tell if I was you or somebody behind you. It was too dark.
Oh, if somebody's behind me, then we got a problem. Bruh, I am sorry, man. You're going to have to repeat all that because I was just fighting for life.
Nah, you good, bro. No worries.
I didn't care nothing about what you were saying. I just wanted to breathe. All right. What did you say, bro?
That ain't the way to go out, bro. That ain't the way to go out. You ready?
Bro, can you imagine that? Me dying from drinking some smart water. How smart is that? Oh, I got tears in my eyes. All right, man. Go ahead.
All right. So I had a property not too long ago, and I got turns out we had sorry, the chat's making me laugh. So turns out we had somebody had some kind of fines on the property that didn't show up on the title search. My question is, what kind of things don't show up on a title search, and what kind of things do we need to be kind of looking for when that kind of thing happens? Because that was something I was surprised by.
So you had an attorney or a title company do the title search, and they didn't find it?
Right. So the title company had done a title search, and they didn't see it. And I actually talked to one of the title search companies I'm working with now, and I asked them, hey, if it's fines like a health code violation or some kind of coding, whatever, is that searched? Do you guys see that? And the lady told me, hey, we don't see things like that. So my question is, with that being said, what kind of things do title companies not see when they actually do a title search?
You know what, Ali? I've never come across. I've come across title companies not catching things, but I've never heard of a title company says, "Hey, there are things that we can't see." And so I'm actually interested in finding that answer. I've been meaning to call the closing attorney and see if he can come on the call. This might prompt me to do that, to try to find that answer for you. So to be honest with you, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know because I've never heard. That's the whole point of the title company. That's the whole point of what they do in title insurance. But here's what I would try to find out. I would try to find out whether or not the title company offers title insurance, and through what company is that insurance provided? Because that is the whole purpose of title insurance. And so if you find something and you find a buyer, I would always propose to that buyer, well, you do know you have the ability to get title insurance if the title. So what the title insurance company does, though, if you guys have never gone through this process, you have the title attorney or the title, depending on what state you are, the title attorney or title state, they will pull records to see if there's any liens against the property. They need to get paid off before anybody else receives any money. And whether or not that title is clear, it's called clear and marketable title. And if we have a clear and marketable title, then we can transfer that deed without any encumbrances. If we do have encumbrances, we have to fix those encumbrances. When we find all that information out, a title insurance company will say, hey, we will insure this title so much that we will insure it up against what you pay for this particular property. So if I buy Ollie's property for $100,000 and then 3 weeks later, Stan comes up and says, hey, I have a mechanics lien against that property for $75,000 because I did this entire rehab and Ollie never paid me.
Right.
The title insurance company will say, well, how much is it? $75,000 insurance, because they should have caught that. And the title insurance company will now be responsible for paying that $75,000 to Stan. So if a title insurance company offers that for that particular property, then I would really talk with the buyer and say, well, what's the difference? What are you worried about? Right? You're insured because you're paying for title insurance. Now, if they choose not to get title insurance, then, that's stupid on their behalf. But check to see that out. And I'm gonna try to figure out if that is really a thing, because that's really the whole point of going through a title of a company and a closing attorney is for them to locate all the liens. Now they can make a mistake, but I've never heard of some of them saying, hey, there's just things that we cannot, but I could be wrong. I very well could be wrong.
Okay. Dope.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Go. Thanks, bro.
No problem, bro. All right. And last person, George. Where you at, George?
Hey, Tommy, what's going on?
What is going on, family?
I'm chilling. I just got out of work a little bit early. So my question is, as far as like locations, for example, I went to a local REIA group and they was talking about my neighborhood. I live in a HUD, and so like I bought a condo for the tax in my HUD, and I see a bunch of deals in my neck of the woods. Would it be, as far as wholesaling, is there any particular neighborhood that you would stay out of, or is it like all neighborhoods are pretty much open game?
All right, so this is a good question. It's a common question. There are buyers for everything, right? There are buyers for the hood. There's buyers for the middle class, upper middle class, and then the upper echelon type places, right? Buyers for everything. What you have to understand, there's also processes and relationships that you need to build that might be different for buyers that buy in the hood versus buyers that buy in the top end places. You also have to understand that there is a different rhythm for those places as well. So it's a lot easier. So it's a lot easier. I'm waiting on this pastor owns these properties, or the church actually owns it. Waiting for him to sign off on the contract. But we got the property under contract for one of them for $8,000, one of them for $15,000. There's a lot more people. There's a lot more investors that have $8,000 and $15,000 than there are investors that have $150,000. There are more investors that have $150,000 than there are that have $1.5 million. So there's a rhythm that goes along with that. So my point to telling you is this: you have to decide on where you want to be at. You have to decide, hey, am I going to be the wholesaler that is selling houses in the hood and middle class neighborhoods? And am I going to cultivate those type of relationships with those type of buyers that like those type of neighborhoods and build that up? Because that's a lot different then where do you live at, George? Where are you at? What area?
I'm in Hartford, Connecticut.
You're in Connecticut.
Hartford, Connecticut.
Okay, Hartford, Connecticut. So Hartford has some hood areas, right? And then you have some places like Greenwich, right? Greenwich, Connecticut, right? Greenwich is pretty upper class, right? That's where.
That's the $1 million neighborhood right next door to New York.
Exactly. So just because the reason why I want to know where you're at is so you can get the visual, right? So in Greenwich, Connecticut, you got, $1 million homes. And so if you're going to have an investor that's going to buy a wholesale property from you with the intent of fixing it up and selling it to an end buyer who's going to spend millions of dollars for that, that's a different type of rehab. That's a different price point. And those are different type of buyers. Those buyers are not as frequent as the buyers that can afford $15,000 for a house in the hood.
Okay, I got you.
So you have to understand that because they have to wait, you have to wait. But when you wait, your wholesale fee, when I sell that house that I got under contract for 8, we're selling it for 11. The one that we have in the contract for 15, we're going to sell it for 19. So I'm going to make, $3,000 on one and $5,000 on the other, right? I'll probably sell them as a package deal. I'll make $8,000 on one transaction. But if you go to Greenwich and you get a house under contract, and instead of you making $8,000, you might make $80,000 off that one property. I'm going to be able to sell this property once I get into contract in another 30 days. You might have to wait 6 months before you get that $80,000. You understand what I'm saying? So me
as the wholesaler might have to wait 8 months to get the 80,000, opposed to the person that's selling the house, opposed to the person that I'm assigning a contract to.
Yes, because the pool of buyers is smaller. You understand?
I got you. I got you. So
you might knock it right out the park. Get under contract today and find a buyer tomorrow, right? But I just want to give you, the realistic side of things. The realistic side of things. Because there's less buyers that operate, there's less fix and flippers that operate at that higher level, right? It might take longer for you to move that property. But typically, the longer that it takes, the more, I shouldn't say that. Typically, the higher the price point, the higher neighborhood, the higher your wholesaling fee. So there's a guy I went to our mastermind. He's out of San Antonio, Texas. And Max is doing 12 deals every single month on average. This guy might only do 12 deals a year. But all of his deals are 6-figure deals. Correct. Correct. He has a whole staff. His whole system is designed for not quantity, but quality deals. So
got you.
My point that I'm trying to get to you is that the only person to decide that is George. Like, George, you're the only one that gets to decide, okay? Because there's no right or wrong way. But you do have to learn different things. You're going to have to learn what the higher end market learns. Like, I'm really good at the lower to middle class market. That's where I decided to stay at. That's where I decided to park at, right? Because the law of averages, there's more buyers in that neighborhood, so I can sell more frequently, okay?
Got you.
So, but if you want to do Greenwich, then, hey, you just have to learn the Greenwich numbers, the Greenwich buyers. Go ahead.
So one more question. Okay, so I kind of felt like the guys was trying to deter me from buying in my area. So, for example, you can wholesale a 6-unit building, right?
A what unit? A 6-unit?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You can wholesale anything.
Okay, so in my neck of the woods, I see a bunch of vacant 3-family, vacant 2-family, vacant 6-unit buildings. And then in order for me to get to the single-family homes, I probably got to drive like a mile or 2, 3, 4 miles, 5 miles outside my neighborhood. And then you start running into the one-family, smaller homes like capes and smaller ranches. And then every once in a while, I might run into like a raised ranch or something like that. But when I went to the RIM meeting, when they were talking junk about my neighborhood, I'm like, dude, I felt like they were trying to deter me from investing into the neighborhood. But then when I listened to some of the guys talk, they buying up, excuse my French, they buying up shit in my neighborhood like crazy, man. Like the white guys, I don't know if there's any white guys on this group, don't take it personal, but the white guys are buying up crazy properties in my neighborhood. I'm like, well, why would y'all sit here and tell me not to buy in the neighborhood, but then y'all coming in and snatching up everything?
Yeah. So here's what you're gonna see, man. And this is a good for everybody. And I know you didn't mean it like this. It doesn't matter what the person looks like. It's what they're focusing on is the green. They don't want more competition, right?
Yes.
They
Okay.
just don't.
Okay.
They're like, man, here is another person. It says that Carla said I'm frozen. Am I frozen, everybody? I am.
You good? We can see you anyway.
Okay. Yeah, you can't.
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. You definitely can't see me. Y'all just use your imagination. Yeah, so the only thing they're worried about, man, is more competition in the neighborhood, right? You're gonna be another wholesaler that's gonna get deals. That's less money that they can get. So you do the numbers, and you decide whether or not their neighborhood is a good neighborhood or not. Don't let someone else tell you. But this is the beautiful thing about the course is not now you're going off of knowledge. You're going off of a skill set. You're not just going off of some random stranger telling you. You now, after you go through this course, and as you go through the course, you're going to be able to decipher what neighborhoods are a good neighborhood or not.
Got you. So you said pretty much you operate in the lower to middle class areas?
I like lower to middle class neighborhoods. Yeah.
Okay,
Because
so that's pretty much what I
focus
on.
What's that?
Okay, I got you. So yeah, you answered my question, man. That's pretty cool right there. All right, that's what's up.
Yeah. All right, family. I'm gonna run through the chat real quick, and then I am start about this time. Let me see. I don't know where I left off in the chat. I appreciate you guys not wanting me to die. I'm just seeing this portion of the chat. I was fighting for life.
Ollie was just ignoring that stuff too. He's like,
I know, he was Ollie didn't care. He's like, man, before you die, just answer this question for me real quick. One last question. All right, yeah, nothing else in the chat. So we're gonna wrap this thing up, and I'm gonna get something to eat. And but if you guys don't remember, if you just got into the course, or if you weren't here, or you've just been living underneath a rock, and you were in the course, guess what next Sunday is? Guess what next Sunday is? It is last Sunday. Yes. Yes. Man, we're gonna make this fun. We're gonna have y'all just excited about cold calling. Man, we're gonna get excited. We're gonna laugh at you getting cursed out. We're gonna laugh on how they talk about your mama. Right? We just gonna have a good time, because once you get through that portion, just things become so much easier because you don't go in there with so much pressure on it. You're just like, yeah, like Jamisi has been working with me since last Monday. She's been helping me on the Airbnb side. She's been killing it, just absolutely killing it. I don't know if Jamisi is still on the call, but she's been killing it, man. At this point, she don't even care anymore. She's like, what? What'd you say? My mama, what? Okay, you want to come up off that house? No? You got any more houses? All right, cool. Like, it's just, you just get to the point where you just don't care, right? Because the next person you're going to be able to help, right? So last call, you guys been, I know, George, I know you've been to a couple clubs, man. And I know you probably one of the people that stay to the lights come on, right? And they say, listen, last call, George. This is last call. All right, this is your last chance. So that's how I want you guys to take it, man. This is last call Sunday, next Sunday, last call Sunday. This is it for the month. After that, that's it for the month. We're moving into October with a new set of goals, a new set of things that we want to accomplish. So last call Sunday, Get at least 25 properties that you have numbers to, and it's going to be a call just like this. And we're all going to be on the phone, making phone calls. Me too. I'm going to make phone calls. I'm going to take a little pause off making my phone calls, and I'm going to boot. I'm going to take Antoine off of mute and just listen to see if Antoine's making phone calls. Right?
So I do drive trucks for a living, so I'm going to pull over to a truck stop and make some phone calls, man.
Hey, that's all I care about. That's fine. It's only an hour.
All right.
An hour, right? Just schedule accordingly, right? So the old George would use that as an excuse. The new George whose goals are more important than the excuse, the new George is saying, hey, I'm just gonna make it work. I'm gonna find I'm literally parked at a truck stop right now. I don't know if you guys can't see it, but it's right there, right? Exactly, by any means necessary, we got to make this thing happen. I could use the excuse that I just got done with a speaking engagement and that I'm on the road and that it wouldn't be the best environment, me driving or I'm sitting passenger seat, driving down the road doing a coaching call. But I don't use that as an excuse, right? And I want you guys to get in the habit. Is that terrorist with that gun to the head of my dreams, are they going to pull the trigger or am I going to save my dream? That's really what it boils down to. So next Sunday, last call Sunday, we cold calling. Make sure you have your numbers and let's make this money. All right, everybody. I love you guys. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. You guys don't understand. I hope you guys find value in this, but I trust me and believe every time I come on these calls with you guys, man, it gives. You don't know what you do for me, right? You guys push me because I can't slack off, right? Being on these calls with you guys with 60-something people that are on this call, it's just amazing to be able to have everybody on here and understand that I have to lead, right? I can't slack off because I got Danyeil, I got Jamesia, I got Sherry, I got all these people, Stacy. I got that you're chasing out. You're right there, and I gotta work. So these calls are refreshing, and it definitely helps me push harder. And I hope it does for the same thing for you guys. So I love you guys, man. I appreciate you spending your time with me because I know what you love is where you spend your time. So I love it. Let's get it. Let's make money. See you guys on Wednesday. Peace.
See y'all Wednesday. Y'all have a good week.
All right.
You too, bro.
Bye. Bye, everybody.